Posłuchaj podcastów Estrady Poznańskiej. Znajdź najlepszy dla siebie. O bogatej historii estrady. Podcast filmowy Kina Muza. O kobietach i kulturze, nie tylko dla kobiet. O muzyce i artystach, których warto posłuchać. O grach i kulturze grania. Podcast dla rodziców. Jak nie zwariować. Podcast o serialach. Podpowiadamy, co zobaczyć. Do usłyszenia.
Hello everybody. I'm very honored to conduct another Q&A session for the 13th International Animated Film Festival Animator in Poznań. As already you know, maybe all the Q&A sessions are online. So today I have 4 directors of the movies in first short of the competition film set. The title of this set is Towards Childhood, and maybe that will be some hint to somehow interpret the movie, but we don't have much time, so I'll go right out to the question. But before, of course, I need to introduce my guest to you. Straight from Bielsko-Biała, Poland, but maybe not indeed in Bielsko-Biała, from the car near Bielsko-Biała, Tomek Ducki, director of Plantarium. Then we have from Berlin, Germany, Dina Velikovskaya, director of Ties, and also from Berlin, Germany, Florian Grolig, director of Friends. And the last but not least, Sophie Tavert Macian, co-director of Traces from Lyon, France. Happy to see you guys. As I said, we go straight to the questions. Maybe I start with Dina about your movie, because I had that feeling that a lot of this story is nice trick with the kid. Yeah, I have a question. As you said, I have a question later about this. I have this feeling that the story in your movie is mostly based on yourself. So can you tell us something about that, and if it's really as hard to cut those ties on your own perspective, your own perspective?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. It's a story about my move from Russia to Germany, and the idea came to me. I'm sorry.
Towards childhood, right?
I moved 5 years ago. I moved from Russia to Germany, and I had the feeling that something is not discussed with me and my parents, and I had the feeling that it's a big problem that I have to make movie about. Because it was really bothering me, and I was thinking about it all the time. And then I had an idea I had this picture of a woman and a tree, and once a woman is walking away, the tree is getting destroyed by it. So this was my first impression, and this is how this film started.
Okay, thank you. I will go.
What was the second question? I'm sorry.
What is it really so hard to cut those ties? You know, maybe from your own perspective, but maybe from others' perspective, because I guess that's the problem of a lot of people.
Yeah, for me, this film is not about cutting ties. It's more about cutting ties that are very that are physical and coming to another level of understanding each another, when people can be free from each another, but at the same time be feel together. This is my wish, how our relationships with my parents would go on, because we had a very tight relationships and at some points not so healthy as well.
Okay, thank you. I will skip to Tomek right now. I have this parenting question. I don't know if you are a father, but I am, and for me, there is a big twist in your movie when they're fighting and then suddenly they stop fighting and they give and then there is a hug and the situation calm down. This is very parenting situation when you fight with your kid and then love wins. So my question is, was your first idea when you started creating the story was to show more the struggle or the bond between those characters?
Well, it's a bit both. I'm also a father, but the roots of the project goes much further. I mean, sooner, because of course I also had a father, and he had also a father, and I also have a son, and it's I was kind of looking for this kind of something which looks from the outside like it was a bit aggressive or playful, something which is like from the outside it switches very easily, but not easily, but kind of can be confusing. But at the end, as you also pointed out, this moment it just it's just the kind of parenting or I don't think exactly. I think I'm a bit lost in my thoughts, but yes, but I also one of the main inspiration or the main motivation to do this film was that when I was doing research on very known cultural father-son relationships, and I was looking for strong ones which are very alive in our culture, and I realized that most of them are very old and most of them are very tragic, and there is a lot of fights and killing, and usually either the son or the father kills the other one. So that's why I also was looking for this kind of fighting metaphor, which is also a bit masculine, I think. And so even if you go from Oedipus until Darth Vader, there is always someone wants to kill the other one. At least they fight. So I think that was like a motivation point. I told myself, that it's just there's so not enough told about this subject, even though it's so basic. So I can do a lot of stuff.
Okay, thank you. Now I need to ask Sophie for those parenting kind of issues, because your movie is it's very, of course, visual, I can say, but there is a lot of also fighting for me in this movie, like child versus adult, fist versus soul, human versus nature, blood versus art.
Yeah.
And That's a beautiful image. But I need to ask if the connection between the characters is like father-son, or it's more like teacher-student. So that's the first one, and the second one, the second question is why you choose this prehistoric setting, because I feel that your story can be actually can be in any times, in any situation, because the basis of the story is like this relation. But why you choose those like old school times?
First, I choose the prehistoric set. It's an obsession for me since I'm a child. I like this period, and first of all, it's prehistoric times. And images from this prehistoric time in the Chauvet cave. So the start point of the movie is really an image, a picture. Then when I start to work with Hugo, and when we ask us what kind of story we can tell in a prehistoric time, we start from a theme, domination, and how to tell a story of domination in this very original time. So we think about this relationship of domination between two human beings, which can work in a parenting relationship, but also in a student-master relationship. For us, the movie works with these different levels, you know. But you must know that when I worked. Don't forget, I'm French and I speak very bad English. So I do my best. When I start to write the story, for me, it was a girl, the student was a girl. So it's a relationship between overall a student, girl or boy, and a master. But it can also be his father, her father, all the kind of link work in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, continue.
No.
No, you must continue now. You know, you said the first word, so.
I think it's very interesting that audience can project in this relationship on his own way. So it can be a father, it can be a master, it can be a girl, it can be a boy. The domination and violence, it's the same. And it's the same in the prehistoric time, and it's the same in today.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Now Florian is with us. So I have a question for friends.
Mm-hmm.
Your film in many aspects look, for me, like a video game. I know that you are also a game designer, so my question will be about that. About the view, the camera, you know, it's somehow like old school two-dimension platform games, but also the encounters in your movie is also like little quests in games. And my question is, it's about the connection between animated films and video games. Do you think these two worlds can connect somehow?
I personally think there's a strong connection. Depends a bit on how you work, but they both start from nothing. I guess that's the main. It's the first connection. We always start from nothing, and then we have to create. Another one, what is for me is a connection. Actually, the camera. I did not think about video games, but for me, it's more about a lot about rules and setting boundaries, because we start from nothing, And then computer games are very rule driven. You have to define the rules of the game. And in animation, we usually define the rules of our film, like what is, because we have nothing in the beginning, and then we have to define some rules. So I personally do that, and I like to define very strict visual rules. For example, like I decided, okay, there's a big difference in size, and then I decided, okay, let's make that a rule, and make a rule that the big one is never completely visible, completely in the picture. And then from that, new rules come, like, okay, most films should be shot in totals, because otherwise we can never see the big one. So that was more necessity. But then sticking with the side view, of course, it's I just like that kind of limitations. But for me, that connects with computer games, because I try to be simple and set some visual and narrative rules that you then follow. That's how I usually work. For the encounters, I didn't have that impression, actually. For me, it's more like scenes in a play or a theater on a stage, because they all play out without any editing. So it's more like, the scenes are nearly 1 minute long, and for me, it's more like, I think as well as in terms of a theater stage, because that's also very total usually. You have no editing or cuts in the theater.
Okay, I've just see it like, like levels. You go from one level to another level, and that's why the encounters. Okay.
Yeah, it's maybe also because certainly the structure is the structure is very classical, and usually in a narrative structure you basically have those different encounters, but sometimes it's they are not so strictly separated. Maybe that's also why.
Yeah. Okay. I have another question to you, actually, about the story, about the friendship in your movie, because for me it's like great metaphor of. I hope not. I'm not right, but a lot of friendships today, and maybe also before, when as they say, that the real friend you can find when you are in trouble. So the one was in trouble, and what about that? Was your purpose to show us that the friendship can be like, different?
No. Yes, of course that's nice to show, but honestly, when I used to write the film, it was mostly that I started from a setting like very big difference, and I basically decided, okay, they are now friends. So I gave the film a title, and after that I decided they will be friends, and then I very naturally just try to figure out which are the different situations and the problems they're gonna have. And I realized, they're gonna have so many problems, because such an extreme friendship will never be accepted. So this is for sure metaphor for our lives as well. And then I decided that they'll stick together. I'm not sure if it will always work like that. So the feedback I get is there are some people who say, yeah, of course, friendship is the most important. And I totally understand. And then I also hear other voices who say, this friendship should never happen, because it's very destructive for them and for the surrounding. And this is not a good thing. So they are very different approaches, and I hope that it stays a bit open, because it's not purely positive, and it also is not all solved in the end. So I hope that there's still enough space for reflection, and different people will have different opinions about what happens actually.
Okay, thank you. Now I jump to Tomek once again. I need to ask you about your technique, because it's very unique. Can you tell us more about it? Because I think that you use different techniques there. So about the lightning, So can you tell us more about it?
Okay, so the puppets or the main elements were stop motion, but they had they weren't completely flat. They had this kind of volume. And we used different sort of organic materials like paper towels or tissues, and we colored them. And there's also a lot of stones and a lot of paint. So everything was lit not like from just above, but we could play with the lighting from the side. So, and of course, every tissue and paper towel was wet, so we could have this kind of fluidity or flexibility. which was very tricky, but it was fun. Took a lot of time, and then composed it together.
Okay, the effect of the muscles shredding was great, but that was the tissues, right?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
thank you.
There are real tissues, yes.
And issues. Okay, let's go about the technique question for Dina, because you also have quite unique technique. I read that you the whole movie was made with 3D pen, right? It was your first time to use it, and it was hard to adjust to do it like with 3D pen. Where the whole idea to do it with this technique came from?
Yeah, so I was planning to make a drawing animation film, and I was making tests already, and then I came. I was struggling with making objects to disappear, how to draw them. It's something I never saw. It's something that is not existing in real life. It was really difficult for me to imagine how I should animate that. And then I was struggling, and Florian, the director of Friends movie, said, why don't you try to make objects out of wire? And objects out of wire you can animate frame by frame and disappear them. This is really logical idea, and I agree that it's nice, but I wanted characters to be with emotions. I wanted them to be really good animated, and then he dropped in the air. And characters you can do with 3D pen. And I knew that 3D pen can draw in the air, so I can explain it shortly, and I can show the frames from the movie. It works like a 3D gun. Oh, sorry, difficult. Yes. Yeah. Here you can see them. So it's a completely analog technique. It sounds very digital, but it's actually opposite. I could draw frames. It's like it's actually plastic that freezes very fast. And after I drew them, I can put them. I can hold them in my hands, and they are real, and they can make shadows, which is fitting to 3D wire objects very good. I can show a little bit more of those. So the idea was invented together with Florian Grolig, and as far as I know, there's no animation film done using this technique, but this one. So it's. I hope it's the beginning of a new technique.
Yeah, you are the pioneer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You can say it.
Last question to Sophie. As I said before, the image in your film is absolutely astonishing. Can you tell us more about your technique and about your narration with image, which I suppose is very important in your movie?
So the technique, it's a mix of animated sand and animated painting. So we draw in a glass table, with the light below and the camera on top. It's draw are made picture by picture. And we wanted to, that the technique takes some characteristic of parietal art. So the animators were working with fingers, with brush, with the painting, and with the sand too. So it's a very, very long work. And we took about 18,000 pictures to make the film. So very, very long time. personally, I come from live cinema. I make live movies too. So we think the visual narration like it was a feature film, a live movie, and we sing the picture like a composition for a live movie. It's the only thing I can tell, because all was when I come to Hugo to make the movie, I just had an idea of the movie. I want to tell the story of an artist in a prehistoric time, but it was the only thing I had to propose. So we make all the movie with 2 brains and 4 hands, and narration and drawing was completely, like that.
Tight. Okay, thank you. That was the last question. We are out of time. So thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
My guest was Tomek Ducki, director of Plantarium, Dina Velikovskaya, director of Ties, Florian Grolig, director of Friends, from the same house in Berlin, Germany, and Sophie Tavert Macian, co-director of Traces. Thank you very much, guys. See ya.
Posłuchaj podcastów Estrady Poznańskiej. Znajdź najlepszy dla siebie. O bogatej historii estrady. Podcast filmowy Kina Muza. O kobietach i kulturze, nie tylko dla kobiet. O muzyce i artystach, których warto posłuchać. O grach i kulturze grania. Podcast dla rodziców. Jak nie zwariować. Podcast o serialach. Podpowiadamy, co zobaczyć. Do usłyszenia.